Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Grosse Ile Township Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission. Tonight's meeting is being recorded and televised September 17th, 2013. I got the date wrong, but the year right. And we would like to start our meeting with a call to order and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll do a roll call. I am Mr. Posiask, and I am here. Alan Veliket is excused. He got called into work this evening. Brian Pollock is excused. He got called into work. Aaron Himmelsbach.
Here.
Rob Albrecht is excused. Jane Fijo.
Yeah.
We have a total of 3 members this evening out of our normal 7. We do have 1 vacancy on the commission and would like to advertise to those people interested in the work that this commission does that we're accepting applications to become a member of the BPAC Advisory Commission. Please contact Carol Knope in the business office for a copy of an application. We'll start our meeting this evening with a presentation by the Island Roadrunners. Erica,
Hi.
please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and Island Roadrunners and your presentation tonight.
Okay, my name is Erica Hidalgo, and I'm the president of the Island Roadrunners. And I'm here to do a presentation on a drinking fountain that our group had voted on that we would like to see placed on the island. The Island Roadrunners, they were founded in 1981, and we became members of the Roadrunners Club of America in 1995. This is a nonprofit group which provides support and encouragement to runners and walkers, as well as promoting community fitness and awareness. The IR voted on selecting items to fund this year, and we voted on purchasing a pet-friendly drinking fountain. The IRR would like to see the installation of the drinking fountain at the south end of Grosse Ile along the path. We need the community support for the construction installation of the fountain. We will work in collaboration with both DPS and the DDA Bike Path Commission to support and promote running throughout the community. A community infrastructure would ideally include water fountains along a trail or pedestrian network to benefit the users. Using this information, we found from the DPS that tapping construction installation would run approximately $3,500 to $4,000. The fountain location was suggested by the DPS at the intersection of Grow and Meridian bike paths. The IRR's funding is limited to the purchase of the fountain itself, and the IRR is home to a nonprofit RRCA running club whose mission is to promote running and a healthy exercise as a sport. Being a runner-friendly community not only supports runners and walkers, but many other community-based sports such as soccer, football, tennis, and basketball that would benefit the society of Grosse Ile. In conclusion of the presentation itself, and I'll open up for questions, the IRR would need confirmation on the acceptance of our gift before the end of December, and also a date for the actual drinking fountain installation if accepted. Do you have any questions for me?
Is it 350 or 3,500?
3,500 is the tapping installation cost.
Okay.
That's roughly what the DPS told me, and that's for the construction and the installation of the fountain itself.
Erica, you have voted to purchase a fountain for us to install?
Yes.
Are you able to tell us the dollar amount of that proposed expenditure?
Yes, the group voted on a maximum of $4,000 to be spent on the drinking fountain itself.
I see.
We vote on various items, and it's the group's vote, their voice, and we run on the island every Saturday, and I'm sure you've seen us, most people have, and we thought it would be a great spot to have a fountain put on the south end of the island, because there's not a fountain there right now.
As far as I know, there was only 2 fountains on the island, the Sims Fountain up at Church in Meridian,
Yes,
and then there's the one that's just off of Meridian in the park at the corner of Meridian and Macomb.
yes.
Is that correct? That's the
Yes.
only 2? So that seems to be a good strategic location. You have voted to expend funds for the fountain, or are you willing to spend $4,000 for the purchase of the fountain and the installation? That's,
I think it would be a combined thing. We have up to $4,000 to spend,
Okay.
that the group said we could do that. The cost of the fountain would vary depending on what you are looking for precisely. I spoke with the DPS and found various fountains that would be pet-friendly. The exception that the DPS would be opposed to would be for the pet fountain portion, not to have a faucet that would stay on, that would have an automatic shut-off so that the water wouldn't be left on.
and Barry and you have spent some time on this. Barry said that?
I did. I work for another municipality as an engineer, so I spoke with the DPS, and the original location of what the Island Roadrunners wanted to see was a fountain installed across from the elementary school. But talking to the DPS, that wouldn't really be the best location based on the type of main that's there right now. It's not that the water main's not available, it's just for construction purposes, it would be very difficult for them to do that. So they suggested that we do that where the paths intersect on Grow and Meridian. So we would leave it up to your discretion how you'd want the actual placement of that fountain in the south end of the island. The other thing that we wanted to discuss too was that would cost variation in the fountain was some of the fountains had a different type of finish depending on what you're looking for. Some had a smooth finish, others had an aggregate finish, so that would vary in the cost.
I'd be personally looking to hear your preference for the fountain, the Roadrunner's preference.
You know, I think they're looking at something that would be, you know, any of those things would work. It's just going to be a matter of, you know, the funds that are available.
Do you have a picture or two of the fountains that you have looked at, or?
I do. They're with me. I don't have them up available on the screen.
That's all right. Can you send them to us?
Yes, I can.
All right, I'd like to see them, and
Me too.
Aaron, you have any questions?
Now,
Jane?
is it like by the pizza place?
Pizza place, is it?
That little building?
The Airport Inn. She's not,
No, the fountain they wanted to have put across from the elementary school, but they were looking at where the 3 paths intersect. Somewhere the DPS would, I guess, determine with you and the DDA where would be the best feasible location to make the actual water tap.
well, as you've seen on the, or perhaps you haven't seen on the agenda, we have to figure next steps at this point. I recognize
Right.
your timeline, and I have to take this up to DPS and fellow board members to see how they all accept this, and it's a very, very gracious offer on your group's part, and we thank you for that. And you can count on me to be working hard to get that thing running water, all right?
It would be great to see it there, I know.
That'd be a nice spot for it.
It would be. It would be.
I enjoy seeing the water fountains that we do have being used. The first one dedicated to Steve Sims was the first one to go in. And then when we built the park, we had a fountain on the corner and we moved it in. So it
Okay.
was kind of inside of the park. So when you're running down our path, you're going to have to take a little bit of a side trip to get to it. But it keeps people from standing very close to the curb to get a drink where it was originally placed, and that was a safety issue, that's why it's inside. But this third one, I like your thoughts and your presentation, and I certainly will take it up with DPS and my fellow board members.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Is there anything further, ladies? Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
I'm just thinking. Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad I finally met you. I've seen your name so many times.
You have.
Yeah, there's been mention of your name in Island Roadrunners, and just I've never seen you, so
Oh.
I'm glad to meet you.
You see me around the island, I'm sure, running.
Yeah,
A lot of
yeah.
us run.
Yeah, well.
Training for marathons and, just running and walking. A fair number of the people in the group.
It's a great
they-
exercise.
They're always active.
Who's got the best bike pass around? Grosse Ile.
Croziel, of course.
Absolutely.
Downriver, you're the best.
Yes, absolutely. We set the standard.
Yes, thank you.
Proud of it. Thank you so much.
That's right.
All right, next up, additions and/or deletions to the agenda. Are there any?
Mr. Chair,
Yes?
I would like to add safe routes to the agenda, please, specifically the walk to school day.
All right. And we will put that under discussion items. Any other additions or deletions? If so, I'll take a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
Aye.
Support?
Support.
This is hard. Motion passes. So motion is Fejel. Support is Aaron. Okay. The next up is the approval of the previous month's minutes. Make a motion to accept the meeting minutes as presented.
Every minute.
If you need a minute to take a look at mine, please feel free.
I take a brief look.
Time out for just a moment.
Yeah, I think I saw that on the email.
So we have a motion to accept the minutes as amended,
Aye.
and you support? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so the minutes are passed. Public comment, Aaron, we received a letter today from, to the township, and Aaron's asked for me to read it. And so I shall. It's dated September 16th, 2013. Dear Grosse Ile Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission, there is a need for a completed sidewalk from Gray's Drive to LaSalle Court on Park Lane. Although there is a partial sidewalk on Park Lane in front of 3 houses, those sidewalks do not connect and do not extend around the curve from Gray's to LaSalle Court. This is the most dangerous part of Park Lane because there is a blind curve where cars speed by without being able to see pedestrians. It is at this curve that there is no sidewalk and it becomes very dangerous. This stretch of road is used for parking during parades, races, home football games, as well as other events on Macomb Street. People are forced to walk in the road because there is no sidewalk for pedestrians in this area. Traffic on these days is very heavy and congested, making it easy for an accident to occur. As a mother of 2 young boys and a resident of LaSalle Court, we walk this dangerous curve almost daily when the weather permits. We are often forced up on the grass to avoid speeding vehicles that cannot see us due to the blind curve. I know you were seeking input to maintain safety on Grosse Ile for pedestrians. This is one area that is used frequently by island residents and needs attention before a serious accident occurs. And it's signed, sincerely, Jacqueline Hammond, 8336 LaSalle Court. Thank you, Mrs. Hammond, for the letter, and I will present this to the appropriate parties for them to review. We'll take a good hard look at it. Any other public comment? Hearing none, we have a couple of discussion items on our agenda. The first discussion item is the pre-printed Island Roadrunners drinking fountain next steps. And not having a great deal of time to formulate a path of action in this at this point, but definitely we're going to. I will talk with Barry Sedlock, I will talk with our township business manager, and I will talk with my fellow board members about the feasibility and the desirability, and let them know that we think this is a good idea. We need to figure out some more specifics as to actual costs and allocation of costs, but we understand that there is a deadline. You want a decision made before the end of December. I think you fully realize that this would not be installed until probably spring or summer of next year, but the decision needs to be made, and I appreciate that. So that's what I see as the timeline. I think that in October, we ought to be able to have enough discussion to make up our minds as to how we're going to do this. And we'll go from there. Ladies, do you have any further comment?
Now, in order to make that drinking fountain with the path, would they have to take apart the bike path in order to connect the water main?
Don't know that. That depends on where the water main lays under the surface in relationship to where the bike path is. Most of these bike paths are running on public thoroughfares or easements, and so are water mains. So it's entirely possible that they may have to do some disruption to the pavement, but that's the reason I think that Barry is talking about the appropriateness of where it might be placed. And Erica?
Right, when they put the water main, when they do a tap, they will have to dig down to the main to do that. They do have tools that they can use, like a little bore tool, to minimize the disruption of the path, so they don't maybe have to cut the path if they have to bring the tap actually across or underneath the path itself that's being utilized. So they can do that. I just don't know what their method will be.
Okay.
All of those things will be fleshed out rather quickly, I hope.
Yes.
Okay. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Good. Aaron, anything from you on that subject?
I'm really excited about it. I run all around the island as well, and I look forward to a drinking fountain being down there. I look forward to hearing the details of it.
And you shall. Next item on our agenda for discussion items is the added item about safe routes. And Aaron, you asked for that. Let's take a look at that.
Okay, so the National Safe Routes to School Day is October 9th, and I would like if all the schools could participate in it on that day. I will be attending the superintendent coffee hour tomorrow. I had reached out to the principals and was told that everything needed to go through the superintendent's office first. I was hoping maybe for some input on details, though. I spoke with a PAT member who was involved when Safe Routes was more active. I guess originally when the sidewalks were put in and there were activities that were being planned. They did a walk to school day in previous years. And she had said that the high school and the junior high did not necessarily participate. It was mostly the elementary schools. So I was hoping to get thoughts on whether we should limit it to just the elementary schools or if we should include the middle school and the high school.
It depends on how many people can be involved.
I guess I'll give all the details. I spoke with Sarah Gilroy, who was leading Safe Routes before, and she said that the GIVE organization can provide volunteers. So if we need people posted for walking school buses and to hand out incentives, to hand out flyers, I spoke with Al, and he said that the police station could provide Slurpee coupons and safety information, and so we could hand those out as incentives. And I'm also thinking about maybe having a park and walk, just a location, but I think I have to be very careful with that because it's possible it could be seen as a field trip and permission slips would need to be involved. And I don't think that I'm ready to go there with the first year that we're doing this, I think we want to have a positive takeaway from the walk to school day. So it might just be volunteers staying and handing things out to the students. I'm hoping to learn a little bit more and get a little bit more input at the superintendent coffee hour tomorrow, because there should also be parents there and maybe they would have an opinion. So I guess what I was looking for you is if you did have suggestions, because you were probably here on the island when the walk to school day happened before, if you had any suggestions for things that you think would be helpful, and also if you have any suggestions for, I guess, donations, if people we can go to or businesses we can go to who might be willing to donate just materials or funds to promote this and make this event exciting for the students.
Aaron, when are you planning, or when was your suggested date to do that?
October 9th,
October 9th.
and that's a Wednesday.
I believe that they're going to have it again in the spring.
It's a bike to school day in the spring, if you go with West National. Yeah, so there's a walk to school day and a bike to school day, and it's all the same organization, really just getting students moving and taking non-motorized forms to school. And that's another thing, if someone were to bike to school that day, I think that they should still receive the Slurpee coupon or whatever it is we have for them. I think the idea is just a non-motorized way, if they want to skateboard there, if they want to roller
Park the
skate.
bus and leave the walking to us? Yeah, there you go. I don't know, the first thing that comes to my mind is that Sarah Gilroy is a great resource. The second thing that comes to mind is something that's an idea that came from Tom Malvesto, my fellow board member. And he had a similar idea called Walk the Dog. And he was trying to promote us to do a Saturday or Sunday event where people just got out all together and swapped these bike paths with people walking from point A to point B. He had suggested that we have a central location where people can walk from the north and the south, and when they hit that central location, perhaps have Coney dogs and lemonade there for them. To burn off all of those good calories that they just wasted by walking, you know. That was on purpose.
Maybe.
It sounds kind of counterintuitive, you know, to have that walk and then reward them with a Coney dog and a juicy drink, but nevertheless, it's an idea. I think that people are going to eat what they want to eat, drink what they want to drink, but the important thing would be to show great support for this island's bike path by putting everybody on bicycles, on foot, in baby carriages, in wheelchairs, on walkers. It doesn't matter. Those things are there for all of us. And I think that would be also a nice idea. So let's talk to Sarah Gilroy a little bit more. And I'll pass this along to, again, my fellow board members to see if they have any ideas for support or donations. Okay. I noticed in the presentations end that I got so engrossed in the Island Roadrunners that I skipped the second presentation, which is something that's near and dear to our hearts too. So what I'd like to do is just count on making that presentation when we talk about during the Township Liaisons Report, okay? Old business. A Horsemill Path update. If anybody who's been down the path on Horsemill has to say it's gorgeous. It is a beautiful, beautiful addition. And I have some exciting things to tell you about that beautiful addition. They're probably imminent working on the sewer end of it on the east side, but that's going to be one nice connection when it's all done. And I'm sure we'll find a this and a that and a minor thing. That's what punch lists are for, but our contractor promised us he would be done by his deadline, and he certainly will. And I think that they did a great job on it so far, so I appreciate that. The second item I'd like to talk about in old business happens to be the bike path maintenance issues. As you know, we embarked this spring on a lot of legwork by a lot of people on this commission, walking the bike paths, finding out where their problems were, and then taking steps to come up with some sort of a solution. We turned over our notes to our township engineer, who constructed a plan for renovation and repair of our existing paths. People that understand asphalt understand that it has a limited life. Asphalt is really liquid, it is not a solid. It has products in it that evaporate and are severely affected by ultraviolet rays. If you look at an older road or an older bike path, you'll see it's starting to turn gray and almost white when the new ones are so jet black in color. That's the leaving of the essential materials in the bike path that hold it together. Occasionally, every 2 or 3 years, you will see us take on a township sealing project where we, some people call it painting the bike path, but it's adding a rejuvenation coat to the top of it. And that's filling up all of the microscopic cracks in the surface and prolonging the life of the path. We did a lot of that last year, and those paths still look very good. I think that now with the combination of sealing and repairing the larger cracks, and when you see what's going to happen with the replacements and the root removals and the restructuring of certain areas on some of our worst paths, we're going to take a good bike path system and make it a world-class bike path system. And that's happening now. I anticipate that virtually most of that will be done before the bike path dedication. And if not, a majority of it will be done. Go ahead and run those paths, walk those paths, ride those paths, enjoy those paths, but don't drive on those paths. Anybody else have a comment about that? Did you like what you saw so far?
Yeah, I like how they put concrete by the bridge. Nicely done, and I don't have to stop and get on the bridge like on Parkway
Yep,
west of here.
very good. Do we have any other new business to speak of? Hearing none. I'd like to step into my liaison report as your township liaison. You know, I'm designated hitter for chairman tonight, and happy to do that. But the thing that I'm really happiest to do is to talk about the bike path dedication that's coming on the 29th. I would like Aaron and Jane to chime in here and tell us in their own words what's going to happen on the 29th of September. So one of you ladies take the lead. And
Okay, I created a flyer, and I've been posting on Allen. I've been posting in Wyandotte and Trenton, and I'm going to continue. Here's a flyer, and I want to see a big turnout. Fortunately, the church has a big parking lot, so we should be able to accommodate a lot of people. And I'm not sure what the scheduling is going to be yet, but so far I've been posting advertising. And?
I've been not posting the advertising. I've contacted the churches and the school. So they have posted or will be sending around in their church bulletins. So we're definitely getting the information out. I've been in contact with the Presbyterian Church, and they're very excited to offer their grounds, and they have volunteer sign-ups going around, so they'll have cookies and lemonade. So I think it should be an exciting event. I'm not sure, have we heard who will be cutting the ribbon?
we certainly have.
Are we keeping that a secret?
No, but it was announced at the last township board meeting by the township supervisor, but I will announce it again. You know that I love tradition, and I love Grosse Ile tradition, and I love the things that have happened on Grosse Ile, especially in the 30 years that I've lived here. But very, very proud of this community and the way it works, the way it hangs together, the way it walks and works together. And very, very early in the inception of the bike path system, there was a township trustee whose name was John Neidhart. And we called John the father of the bike path system. And we did recognize him for that. If you go in front of the public safety building, you will see a plaque that recognizes his contributions and names the bike path system as the John Neidhart Memorial Bike Path System. John unfortunately passed away a little over 19 years ago. And John was kind of a mentor to me. He talked me into coming onto my first commissions over 23 years ago. And, I said, I don't know anything about roads. He says, neither do I. We'll learn together. And John was just that sort of a person. But in remembering John and realizing that this new edition is the newest edition and might be the newest edition for a while in our bike pass system, we wanted to remember John in a special way. The township supervisor has invited his widow, Mary Neidhart, to cut the ribbon. And she has accepted gratefully. Another person that will hold the other end of the scissors with her is another person in great history, great current history on Groseal. That gentleman has had a great deal to do with Bike Pass, and he was with me and a group of other township people when we dedicated the bridge over the Thoroughfare Canal. And he's going to hold the other end of the scissors, and his name is Jack Delphi. So, two tributes to great people who had a connection to make a great bike pass system and to make Groseal better in the process. I'm really excited about having those two. I think Brian made a great, wise decision in picking those two. There was a third person that's involved in this, and I picked him. The man who started your commission, Eric Ranka. So Eric is going to hold the center of the scissors and pray that Mary and Jack don't cut his fingers off. But we're going to be a three-person committee dedicating, and for all three good reasons. Eric saw the need to take the bike paths out of and give special attention to them as a separate entity, and I'm grateful to him. I'm happy to finish what he started. I'll be there too, but I'll be standing in the background watching all of you. So I think that that's great news. I hope you like that news. Have you met either one of those folks? Either of you?
One of them,
Jack.
Jack.
Okay. The other one has moved off the island, has been gone for several years, and is coming back specially for that.
Okay.
Mary's a sweetheart. She has a young grandson whose name is John Neidhart Jr. He'll be here. And her sons will be here with their wives. So it'd be a nice tribute to an old Groseal contributor. I like this. This is fun for me. And I hope it'll be fun for you. It'll be a very, very special event that day. I'm even staying home for that. Any other comments?
Do they have a traditional scissor they use for groundbreaking ribbon cutting in the past?
We have ceremonial scissors. We're going to have a ribbon and scissors.
Oh, that'll be taken care of. Thank you.
Excuse me. Check my notes. That's about all I have for a township liaison report. And our chairperson and vice chair both not being here, they'll have to get their comments in at the next month's meeting. Maybe they'll critique this one. But do you ladies have anything special as far as member reports or things that you have done on your own?
I just had a bike-a-thon last Saturday for the Duck. I did a bike-a-thon for the Duck Arts Festival, and we did it up in Kensington, Island Lake Recreation Area. And I had spent a year organizing it, and I got some ideas under my belt, so maybe we can do something in the future here. Maybe. I'll think about it.
Good. Erin?
I think I'll have more to add after going to the superintendent coffee hour tomorrow and speaking with the parents and the superintendent, and hopefully get the walk to school day rolling.
That'd be nice. We're going to do a lot of events around the bike pass. The crown jewel of Brazil, the necklace. All right? We're trying to make a necklace out of it. Make it all the way around. With that, with no other business that I'm aware of, I would accept a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I motion.
Okay.
So our meeting is officially over at 8:09 PM. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, if you